ready for the next level. So Dr. Thomas, talk to us a little bit more. You talk a lot about excellence, and particularly black male excellence. What does that mean when you say that in context of Morehouse?
In the context of Morehouse, black male excellence refers to the expectation that we have here that our young men will grow to be their best selves. The expectation we have here that every man who walks through the gate of Morehouse has the ability to be the best student that we've ever seen. We push our young men not to simply get by, but to be excellent. And I believe that there are actually few places in higher education where black male excellence is an expectation. There are many places where it's an exception. You can be that exceptional black man who turns out to be excellent, right? And people are often surprised. It's not a surprise here. It's an expectation. And there's nothing exceptional about simply being a black man. So you make yourself stand out here by finding some endeavor, some area of study or contribution where you are excellent. That's how you stand out at Morehouse. That's the expectation. And you see our students grow into that. If you talk to many of our students who today are juniors and seniors, they will talk about growing into the expectation that they should be excellent.
And what our parents should be thinking about now, at this particular point in time, is sending their young men to places like Morehouse.
I think that they want to be thinking about where will their son go and be embraced, but be challenged. Where will their son go and develop relationships with the adults in the community that are deep and authentic. Morehouse College is unique in that way. Our alumni are deeply engaged with our students as mentors. A great example of that is what we've done to prepare students to go to medical school. Our alumni who are doctors here in the Atlanta area organized a mentoring program where our students who are interested in medical school, who are in the summer of their sophomore and junior years, get to shadow Morehouse alums who are doctors in almost every discipline, from anesthesiology to neurosurgery to orthopedics to being general practitioners and internists. And it's been very powerful in terms of our students talking about, once I got this opportunity to shadow Dr. So-and-so, I knew that I could do that.
That's great. And so I think you've given us a lot of context around this idea and notion of black male excellence in Morehouse. But more importantly, what is it that you think gives, that makes our young men different at Morehouse once they've had the Morehouse experience?
What I think makes them different is two things. One, they leave with a real sense of what it means to be part of a brotherhood. A brotherhood defined by black maleness, and a network that they can depend on no matter where they go in life. The second is they leave with a sense of confidence that, quite frankly, isn't always instilled in our young men in predominantly white colleges and universities. That gnawing sense that you always have to prove yourself because you're black, as opposed to you always have to be excellent because you're you. And I'm not being excellent or trying to prove anything because I'm black. I'm trying to be the best me. And if I focus on being the best me, I'll be excellent, I'll achieve, but I'm not focused on other people's questions about me. I'm only focused on my questions about myself. Who am I? What can I do in the world? What do I owe the world? What does the world owe me? Am I living up to the expectations of leadership and service in the way I live my life?
Thank you, Mr. President. Greetings, students and parents. Let me be the first to say welcome to the House. I know you have to be feeling mighty proud, all of you, and you probably feel a little bit like I did about 3 years ago or so, when my daughter came to Spelman College right across the street. Very proud moment to see my children go to one of the most prestigious women's colleges in the country. Now you can be proud that your child has chosen to come to Morehouse, one of the most prestigious colleges in the world for African American men. You have every reason to be proud. You've made a giant step in reaching your dreams and aspirations and your goals. Young men and parents, making the choice to attend Morehouse is the right choice. For Morehouse College is the only college in the world that was designed with you at the forefront of its creation. You are our raison d'etre, our reason for being, our justification for our existence. As we all know, and you will soon discover, Morehouse is like no other institution in the world. It is not just that we are all male or historically black, or that we assume special responsibility for teaching the history and culture of black people. It is not only that we demand disciplined minds, leadership, and service, along with liberal learning and the development of character. It is the combination of these strengths that multiplies our capacity to have an impact on the world and makes us extraordinarily unique. Morehouse provides a rigorous and broad-minded education, providing you the opportunity to explore your ideas and curiosities while providing you with skills that will help you make a good life. You will do all of these things within an environment that is made for you to succeed. Morehouse is special because of the distinctiveness of the communities that create it. And we are hoping that you will add your distinctiveness and your uniqueness to this collective that forms the foundation of Morehouse. We are the #1 producer of black men who go on to get their doctorates in all the STEM areas and the social sciences. We are the top producers of Rhodes Scholars among HBCUs. We have restructured our academic offerings by focusing on the interrelatedness of knowledge within an interdisciplinary framework. We have made clearer the connections between a chosen major and your aspirations and career goals. We have new degrees and programs like our newest degree in software engineering and a degree in art history and a minor in curatorial studies. And these come with built-in scholarships. Do you want to put your gaming and coding skills on the next level? We're offering Momentum OHub Morehouse Bootcamp online this summer. Students, you should get prepared for one of the most momentous and exciting periods of your lives. Coming to Morehouse provides you the opportunity to connect with some of the most exciting personalities, from your classmates and professors to more than 16,000 living alums and many of our partners in business, entertainment, higher education, and government. At Morehouse College, you have a staff that is dedicated to helping you make the most of your time and investment. My vocation is teaching sociology, but as college provost, I am primarily concerned with helping you succeed academically. I am responsible for oversight of the core curriculum, the majors, the minors, within all the varied disciplines that we have. I'm responsible for the research activities and other programs intended to enhance the intellectual life on our campus. An extraordinary group of people help me in this work. They are that group of faculty and staff dedicated to your success at Morehouse. And today, we have 3 such representatives of our outstanding faculty. We have first, Dr. Keith Howard, biologist and dean of the faculty. We have Dr. Stephanie Dunn, who is director of our CTEMS program, Cinema, Television, Emerging Media Studies program. And we have Dr. Keith Hollingsworth, professor of business administration. And now, Dr. Howard.
Thank you, Provost Hodge. Again, my name is Keith Howard, and I'm a biologist. I've been at Morehouse about 29 years. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about STEM and dual degree programs. Whenever I consider a student's matriculation at Morehouse, I always think about evolution. That's something that biologists normally think about, but I think about it in terms of evolution of the student. You come to Morehouse, you will be transformed. You will be different. You will be much different than you arrived. We can look at some of our graduates. For example, Dr. Robert Gore, the class of 1998, founder Kings Against Violence Initiative. You may have seen him on the internet or on CNN. He's one of the CNN Hero Awards recipients. Dr. F. Dubois Bowman, 1992, class of 1992. Dean, University of Michigan School of Public Health. A student of mine, Dr. Isaac O. Kakari, class of 2002. Kakari is the first African-American chief of neurosurgery at Duke University. Or how about Dr. Frank Jones, class of 1985, president, American Medical Association. And then there are even more recent graduates. For example, Christian McRoberts, class of 2018. Christian is enrolled in a PhD program in mathematics at Iowa State University. And then there's Roy McReynolds, class of 2018. Roy is in a PhD program in neuroscience at the University of California. All of these individuals have some common characteristics, many of which I think were developed at Morehouse. Recognizing resiliency, perseverance, critical thinking. All of these things are necessary to be successful. Many of our graduates are employed by major companies such as Microsoft, Deloitte Consulting, General Dynamics, it goes on, and so does the list of successful graduates. So this is a really good choice of yours to come to Morehouse. And when I think about it, I think about impact. And I'll share something with you. I am a prostate cancer survivor. Had surgery, and one of the things after surgery, you're sort of loopy and trying to figure out what's going on, but a doctor approached me and he was like, Dr. Howard, like he knew me. It turned out to be one of my former students. Never saw it. So, it's hard to put into words all of the great things that our students are doing, our graduates are doing, and many of them stand out for the great things that they do. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. In May 2019, just about a year ago, Variety magazine named Morehouse College's Cinema, Television, and Emerging Media Studies, CTEMS as it is called, as one of the top film programs at undergraduate institutions. In January of this year, 2020, Terrence Day, a CTEMS graduate, won a jury prize at Sundance for his short film, Ship. The cinema program that I'm proud to represent as a professor and as the academic advisor is a selective program. It requires a secondary application in addition to gaining admissions to the college. Why? Because it is a serious program that has as its mission to nurture storytellers from the page to the screen. We take very seriously our students understanding the craft of storytelling and the process of filmmaking. We expect our students to be competitive, whether they're going on to top graduate schools, whether they now are NYU, USC, Loyola Marymount, or they're going out into the industry to work for top studios. We expect our students to be able to learn, to collaborate, to be able to independently take charge of their futures and participate in the transformation of storytelling in the industry. The Black image in the 21st century is still under attack. We are constantly on guard about what is missing in our screen, on our screens, whether it's web, TV, or film. We are constantly engaging the history of stereotypes. Our storytellers who come in, our students, are charged with understanding that history, but in making their unique voices not only speak to that history, but to the images and the vision of ourselves that we want to see represented. So we dwell in the spaces that are still yet to create. So our storytellers who come to this program are going to be able to be prepared to compete wherever they go, because it is rigorous, it is selective, and we are quite serious, right, about storytelling being about writing and also about picking up the camera. So I'm hoping that there are a lot of aspiring serious storytellers out there who are going to join us at Morehouse College in the fall.
Good afternoon and welcome to the House. J.P. Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Truist, McKinsey, Bain, A.T. Kearney, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, Pfizer, Clorox. Each and every one of these top-ranked companies currently are looking for Morehouse graduates to come work for them. I don't care what field you go into, whether it's banking or accounting or consulting or marketing, the best companies are aware of Morehouse and they're looking for our students. The reality is, I actually have more people looking for my students than I have students qualified to fit into the interviews. Now notice I said qualified, because you have to come here and take this seriously. Now if you're going to come to college and slack off, then you're going to work for a job just like everybody else. But if you come here and do the work that you're expected to do, not only in the classroom, but outside the classroom, when you're making the connections and the networking, then the opportunities are absolutely limitless. And you will struggle more to figure out where you want to go than figuring out who is willing to take you. And it's not just the companies, it's the graduate schools. Morehouse has been ranked as one of the top feeder schools to the nation's top 5 law, business, and medical schools by the Wall Street Journal on 3 different occasions. We were not only the highest ranked school in Georgia, but only Duke University beat us in the entire Southeast. So we have a reputation and a brand of putting our students in the best places. Now, how does that happen? Well, one, in business and economics, I can say we truly believe in this liberal arts background. We want you to know about more than just business, because if the only thing you can talk about is debits and credits, then you're going to be a boring boy. And that's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for entry level. We're looking for leaders. And leaders need to understand the world. Leaders need to be able to see the whole picture and bring that to bear. So we believe very strongly in that. So we're not a business school where you'll take 75% of your classes in business topics. Instead, we're a business department in a liberal arts college where at least half of your courses will be outside, because we want you to understand the basics of music and art and theology and sociology. Those are all important things to make you even more successful. The second thing is we know we're going to handle the basics of management, marketing, accounting, and finance, which are the 4 concentrations we have. Every school does that, and we're going to do a great job at teaching you that. But it's the other stuff that we're going to teach you is going to make you stand out. Because if you think that you're going to, as a young black man, go into corporate America, just put down your head, do a good job, and be recognized for it, then I got some swampland to sell you in South Georgia at a real cheap price. Listen, often you will be one of the only people in the office that looks like you. And what does that mean? And what decisions do you have to make when we do that? So we have classes that try to prepare you for that. We have a class called Leadership and Professional Development that not only talks about leadership, but things like dress and dining etiquette. We have networking sessions where you get to meet people and learn how to do some of the small talk. We have symposiums that are off campus that allow you to practice that. We give every opportunity possible to let you learn how to network with people that don't necessarily look like you. It's one thing to learn to speak to other young black men, but you need to learn to speak to people that look like me, white, middle-aged, and overweight, because I promise you we are everywhere. And if you're not comfortable talking to us, then how are you going to be involved in the big deals? What does it mean to be a black man in the business world today? And you might look at me, particularly at me, and say, oh, you're just trying to make me a corporate drone. You're just trying to make me like everybody else. No, I want you to talk about what it means. I want you to have the discussion. Because the reality is that most schools, especially PWIs, they're not going to ask these questions. We are. We're going to talk in our leadership and professional development class about what it means. We're going to talk in my data analytics class about data discrimination and algorithms of oppression. If you want to ask yourself, what does it mean to be a black man in business, then Morehouse is where you need to be, because we are having those discussions every day, and it will lead you to be a leader in the business world. Thank you.
Thank all of you. And as you can see, we're serious about you coming to Morehouse and engaging in this intellectual exercise that will literally change your life. Now, as you can see from what our faculty shared, our students go on to wonderful things. And we want now for you to listen to one of the great partners that we have speak on why they select Morehouse men not to be corporate drones, but to be rainmakers.
What we find when we're interviewing our Morehouse teammates is the purpose of Morehouse and the reason why the students are there and what they get out of the organization matches very right up with the things that we're expecting from our teammates here. What we think about when we're hiring, bringing on talent into our organization is developing a senior managing director who is a rainmaker type of person. We don't hire analysts just to be effective analysts. That's not what's critical to us. What's critical to us is to hire somebody into the organization that we know has the skill set and have the capabilities and the values to become that rainmaker managing director who's out driving business for us and supporting our clients' needs. And that's what we see when we bring in Morehouse students into our organization, is that ability to connect with clients and that the development of the Morehouse man. We see that come out in our teammates that are here. They're able to connect with folks. The communication skills are much further developed than many of the other teammates that we have because of the experiences they're getting out of the Morehouse education. Trusting each other and getting to know each other, working with each other, doing things for each other in an organization, and that's emphasis that Morehouse puts on for their students is absolutely critical to the success of teammates that we have in our own organization.
Outstanding. So now you see, if you want to be a rainmaker, Morehouse is where you need to be. We're now ready to kind of transition to our question and answer session. And we want to make sure that you are putting your questions into the chat session, the chat area of the program, and make sure that you get those questions in there. We're going to transition to our question and answer period now. And our VP for Enrollment Management will facilitate our Q&A, Mr. Terrence Dixon.
Thank you, Dr. Hodge. We have a few questions out here. The first question looks like should be for you, Dr. Dunn. Question is, are CTEM's courses necessary?
Absolutely. Now, I don't know if by necessary is the person asking, are there a sequence of core courses that are required? The answer to that is yes, just like any other major at the college. So there are introductory courses, the first two, Introduction to Film and Introduction to Television, which are required. And then there are the screenwriting courses, and then storyboarding and editing, and there's all the way to senior capstone. So absolutely, yes.
Thank you. There's a follow-up question I think should be tag team between Dr. Howard and Dr. Dunn. The question is it possible for me to major in STEM and minor in CTEMS?
Absolutely.
And I think that would be a great combination, because what we find is that many students who access that creative part of the globe, that access that, and they're also majoring in science, actually encourages them and helps them to be better problem solvers.
Dr. Hodge, seems to be a question here about, can you outline the process for applying for the honors program?
Yes. The process for applying to the honors program is really quite simple. The first thing is that based on your scores in high school, you will be identified coming in, and you will be contacted by the honors program. And then there's an application that you fill out that will give you access to the director of that program, and then you will be contacted to do an interview and write a paper. So yes, if you are identified up front as meeting certain criteria, you will be invited.
Another question, Dr. Dunn. Can you explain the application process for CTEMS?
Absolutely. That's a popular question. So our application process, in a way, it's very much like other programs have undergraduate programs in film, that is, in that it involves essay writing. So for example, it happens once a year. It's in the fall of the sophomore year. So students apply in the sophomore year in the fall. There is a open period, meaning it may be 6 weeks or so. It's always roughly in November. And what happens is that students go on the site. They will be able to click on the application, and they will be able to fill it out. There is an information form, and then there is an essay question, sometimes about why they want to be in CTEMS. There's another one that is just for sort of testing their sort of creative writing, storytelling skills, if you will. It is very much like the application process at places like UCLA or Howard and so forth.
Thank you, Dr. Dunn. Dr. Hollingsworth, what extracurricular programs should freshman business majors participate in?
The first thing I would tell you to do is join the Morehouse Business Association. That is the largest organization on campus, usually 300 to 400 members, and it gives you a lot of exposure. If you're trying to think about what area you want to go into, is go into the MBA meetings, and you can meet a lot of other people. You start the networking skills that we've talked about. We also, within the MBA, have a freshman protege program that you can apply for, where 15 to 20 freshman proteges are paired with senior business students and get that kind of mentorship. I will also say, just to warn you though, come in as a freshman, concentrate on your classes first, and don't get overwhelmed with extracurriculars. So I would encourage the MBA, but don't try to do everything at one time. Get those grades in first.
Thank you, Dr. Hollingsworth. Another question is more about centered around internships. And what are the percentage of freshmen gaining internships into corporate America? But I think more importantly, can you start the business major in the freshman year?
We don't have freshman level business classes. We only have one at the moment. Generally, the students in their freshman year focus on general education, and then in their sophomore year, they begin to take the accounting courses and legal courses, and that leads them into that. We have a great career services department here on campus that helps you find internships. A lot of companies come and recruit here. It's a fantastic opportunity. Personally, for me, I think freshmen should look on other ways to expand their CV than worrying about the job the first year. The most important internship you have is the junior one, which leads to a full-time offer. I would take that freshman year and study abroad and do something very different and do internship after your sophomore year.
Dr. Hodge, what other majors qualify for double majors?
So double majoring is interesting. Very few of our students actually double major. You can double major in anything. It may not be advised for you to do that, however. Minoring, picking up a concentration, delving into some area, because of the way in which we restructured our academic programs, and our general education has been restructured as well, you have an opportunity to explore a vast array of programs that you can engage. Double majoring is possible, but it probably is not necessary if you engage in your aspiration, what you really enjoy doing, and then focus on that, and then take other things to kind of round that out with concentrations. So I wouldn't necessarily do a double major.
Mr. Dixon, I always encourage students, don't get caught up on titles. It's not so much that you have to major here and major there. What you want to do is pick up the skill sets that you want. And for some majors, there are so many classes required, it's difficult to double major.
And can I add, too, really quickly, too, that while there are some complementary majors, so for example, in CTIMS, we do currently have a student who is a double major in theater and in CTIMS. There's also a current student who is music, double majoring in music and in CTIMS. However, like my colleagues, I would strongly emphasize that it is for A, really, really strong students. B, it is often not advisable just because of the stack of hours that you have to take. It sometimes does not mesh because of courses and course sequences. And I also would add, too, that the benefit of coming here to Morehouse and to being in the AUC environment is that you have so much opportunity to build interests and concentrations by taking courses, but also taking a part of the extracurricular activities that are designed to enhance the academic offerings. So there are so many visitors, guest speakers, all of these things, possibilities for mentorships that allow you to be able to develop in multiple areas.
Right.
And
So,
Dr.
I would
Dunn.
also add that advisement is extremely important because your advisor can actually help you select courses that are going to help you achieve your career goal. Many of these interactions are interdisciplinary. So let's say that you want to go into biomedical sciences, and so you may be taking more physics courses, perhaps, in addition to biology.
so
Dr. Howard, there is a follow-up question here that talks a little bit about the assessments around for fall. Can you discuss in more detail the assessment process, or whether or not incoming freshmen who've taken college credits need to take the assessment tools?
So yes, there will be an assessment, particularly in terms of the quantitative skills coming into the sciences now. What we find is that we use that information in advisement to advise students whether to take certain courses or not. For example, if you're talking about in the natural sciences or life sciences, we're talking about whether you're going to take biology 111 and chemistry 111 at the same time. So the assessment becomes very important. Assessment will also help you be placed into the correct math course that's appropriate for your level at that time.
Dr. Dunn, can you go back and talk a little about, you mentioned the AUC. Can you explain the AUC?
So what's great about the AUC is that this is a historic environment where you have the unprecedented situation of 3 or 4 colleges, historically Morris Brown, as well as Spelman and Clark and Morehouse. So you have Clark and you have Spelman and you have Morehouse, and our students interact freely. They're on each other's campuses. They're taking courses sometimes on each campus. They're involved in student organizations that involve students from the other campuses. We have guests that sometimes we share classes. I've shared, classes with my colleagues at Spelman, and we have invited special guests, and so classes at the different colleges are invited to come. When we have events, they are generally open to the AUC, so Morehouse students can go to Spelman and they might participate in the entertainment industry career day. They might do that here. So it's very interactive, and including in things like the Maroon Tiger, where you will have staff that sometimes it's Spelman's reporter who was on the Maroon Tiger staff along with her peers at Morehouse. So that's what I mean by it being a very interactive environment where you can take full advantage of the rich cultural, academic offerings.
Dr. Dunn, that's absolutely correct. I did want to add that the AU Center is a part of a consortium. It happens to be the largest consortium with contiguous campuses in the country. It's made up of, as she said, Clark Atlanta University, Spelman College, Morehouse College, the Morehouse School of Medicine, as well as the Woodruff Library. And there's also the Interdenominational Theological Center. And so all of those make up this large collective that students freely move between. Our students even take classes at the medical school as undergraduates. All of that is possible when you come to Morehouse. And the classes, there's no extra charge for taking the class someplace else. And I did want to also mention another advantage of being part of this collective is that we're also part of the Atlanta Regional Commission on Higher Education, ARCH, which also allows students to take classes at any of the 13 metro Atlanta counties in the colleges at any of those schools. So there are so many opportunities for you to build and grow who you are. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Dr. Hodge. What about relaxing the assessments for SAT or ACT?
Well, Terrence, that was really a question for you. I think that I had heard that because of COVID-19 and the impact that it's had on high schools, that there is going to need to be some type of consideration for those students who are not able to take those examinations but were accepted into the colleges. And I think that we are moving in that direction as well.
Thank you. Dr. Howard, can you expand on the concentration of computer science and talk more about coding and gaming in that concentration?
Right. One of the things that you should know is that we actually expanded the number of divisions that we have. So if you think about the sciences, that's going to be inclusive of life sciences, it's going to be inclusive of mathematical, computational sciences, and a new division called ELLIS. And that stands for Experiential Learning and Interdisciplinary Science. So all of these connections that we're talking about, if you have an interest in gaming, if you have an interest in more classical computer science, you can take advantage of. One of the things that we're cognizant of is that students want to do a variety of different things. And a criticism that I have of I guess the way that things were done previously, just throughout higher education, you had to be a history major, or you had to be a English major, and that was it. We're moving in a direction where we're listening to students, and you are going to be able to design your own curriculum. And so that can be cross-disciplinary. It can be things that you're really interested in. We're not interested in boxing you in, right?
Dr. Hollingsworth, as a transfer student, can you tell me what I should be thinking about to get up to a good start at Morehouse?
First thing, of course, is to be working with the advisors in the admissions office to see what classes transfer in and what they substitute for. One of the great advantages of the reorganization that we've just done with our general education is there are far more free elective hours. So it is much easier to transfer into Morehouse today than it would have been 3 years ago. So there's a lot of opportunities there for you. But it's really talking to the advisor and finding out where you need to start.
Thank you, Dr. Hollingsworth. Dr. Hodge, I have a question here that's about, I think, dual degree. If I'm thinking about study in chemical engineering, what are the other partnering schools with Morehouse?
There are 13 dual degree engineering schools that we are currently partnering with, and that's really a Atlanta University Center program. The dual degree engineering program is really for the entire Atlanta University Center. Morehouse, of course, is a leader in the number of students participating in that. And there are about 12 institutions, and you can find that information actually online. I wouldn't want to start calling out schools' names and miss one of them. Dr. Howard seems to know who they are.
I'm ready. So Georgia Tech, North Carolina A&T, Purdue, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, University of Michigan, Boston University are some of the ones that our students attend.
Thank you.
Dr. Howard, I have a question here about a person that wants to be a pharmacist. So what would be your recommendation about a major if I'm thinking about being a pharmacist?
So pharmacy is really deals with professional school. You'll have to go to pharmacy school, or farm school as it's sometimes called. What's really important is that you maintain that you get the basics, right? And so you have to have a strong chemistry background, right? So, and you have to have a strong background in biology as well. And so there's a combination of courses that you can take that will position you for farm school, and you can become a pharmacist.
And I'd like to mention, along with that, that you should contact our Office of Health Professions.
Yes.
We do have an Office of Health Professions that you can reach out to, and they're responsible for shepherding our students through all of those medical, dental, pharmacy, nursing, on and on medical professional fields. And so reach out to them, and they will be able to assist you in making some of the right choices when you come to Morehouse.
There's a follow-up question here about how would a physics major get into graduate school?
So I'll take that.
Okay.
And so a number of physics majors actually do attend grad school or engineering school. Again, it really depends on what the student wants to do. There are a lot of opportunities for students to go to graduate schools. Many of them come to our campuses to recruit. It just really depends on what the student wants to do. You have to have a strong science background, a strong science GPA, and quantitative skills. And so those are things that we partner with you to develop.
But Mr. Dixon, as we keep saying, you have to keep your options open. Like, one of the best places for physics majors now is to go into financial engineering and quantitative analysis and work with one of the investment banks. So, you know, the opportunities are just there. That's part of what is so great about Morehouse, is the exposure.
Dr. Hollingsworth,
Mr. Dixon, let me follow up on that right quick with the fact that when you come here, you will be coming here at a most exciting time, kind of related to what Dr. Hollingsworth just said about data analytics. We have been given a large grant to develop a data science center of excellence here at Morehouse, at the AU Center. And Morehouse is playing a pivotal role in that development. So when you come here, you will have an opportunity to explore all of these new kind of entrepreneurial inventions that are coming out and that you should be engaging in. And so it is about what you put in so that you can take out of the experience. And so even from things with our greenhouse, we have the only greenhouse on the campuses that is an active, modern greenhouse with some fancy equipment that I'm sure Dr. Howard can tell you the name of, but I can't. All of these things are here for you to explore and to develop your entrepreneurial ideas and pursuits.
Can I just interject to say, too, that this is irrespective of majors, especially in terms of the next level. You start earning all of those opportunities from day one. I can't think of anything more important for any freshman than to understand that you begin to earn your next level of opportunities by what you do when you start at Morehouse, when you start in the classroom in the fall. So you have to have an understanding of the fact that gen eds are just as important as major courses. They're all going to contribute to GPAs. Most graduate schools are very GPA focused. You can't get into the best or be competitive for medical school or for the best film schools if you are not going to excel from freshman year. And if you mess up freshman year because you're not focused, you're partying too much, you're not seeing the dots, it's hard to play catch up senior year or junior year and turn everything around.
Dr. Hollingsworth, I have a student that obviously has an interest in business and wants to know, how does he join the Morehouse Business Association?
The Morehouse Business Association usually has an enrollment drive about the first 3 weeks. We usually don't start the first week of class. We let everybody get settled in. But generally the first 2 to 3 weeks in September, there'll be tables set up across campus that they can join.
Dr. Dunn, there's a question here around sports and communications. Can you talk a little bit about that in your area?
Sure. So both and communications is another one of our major programs. And CTIMS, the film and TV program, we've had one athlete that I recall who was on the basketball team that graduated as a CTIMS major. Now, I will say this. I think this is true for any major because we're pretty, at Morehouse, I don't know what an easy major is. That's just some kind of, it's not at Morehouse College. Is it, colleagues? So, but I will say this. Athletes and people who are in something that demands their activity beyond the classroom have to be extra conscientious about keeping up with their work and accepting the fact that it is going to require a great deal of time management and time management skills and the commitment, right, to accomplishing them both. CTIMS, for example, is not a major for someone looking for an easy major or for someone who will not accept sort of the time intensity of it. So,
I think Dr. Hodge has an add-on to that.
Yeah, I do. So Dr. Dunn is absolutely correct. I did want to point out for all of you athletes that are listening out there, I want you to know that we focus on making sure that you are successful in your academics as well as on the field. We consider you to be truly scholar athletes. The other point that I wanted to make about that is that because we make that focus, our athletes actually as a group have a higher GPA than all of our other club activities on the campus as a group. So we're focusing on that, and we do that with all of our students through a program called ADISA, and that stands for Appreciative Developmental Intrusive Student Advising. That's the special kind of touch that we provide for students as we try to help them shape their futures and meet their aspirations. So I did want to point that out, especially for my athletes out there.
Dr. Dunn, there's a follow-up. You mentioned that you can't enter the CTIMS program into sophomore year. As a freshman, what should I do?
Oh, absolutely. Get asked that question a lot. The most important thing, this is number one, is to really excel in the classroom, to take very seriously that you're basically going to demonstrate through your freshman year your seriousness as a student. With the CTIMS program, we are looking in the application process for serious students, because you will find after the 4 years as you're in senior year that it is a very intense major. It is a major where you have to study, you have to be committed, you have to be passionate. So you can't be passionate but not be a serious student and able to handle all the responsibilities of being a serious student, like time management and study and so forth. So it's really important to take care of business in the classroom first and then come to all of the things that we offer throughout the year. Directors come, writers come, actors and actresses come. So all of those things will also be available to you, but it's the classroom first that is going to earn your way in or not.
Thank you, Dr. Dunn. We've got time for two more questions, but I'll add, there's an add-on to the CTIM's question here around, can you talk a little bit about CTIMs and how it connects to theater in the Atlanta University Center?
Sure, absolutely. They're closely aligned. For one thing, we live in the same division, the Performance Arts Division, and Dr. Morrow, I believe now, is sort of facilitating that program. So those students take most of their theater classes through Spelman College through an agreement of many years. Students major in drama, and a lot of our students are minoring. A lot of CTIM students are minoring in drama or theater, or we have one who is a double major in it. Rare, but we also have a number of students who that's the minor, is theater. We consider them very closely aligned. Obviously, they're in the performance arts. Some of the courses are electives for the others.
Dr. Hodge, a question around mechanical engineering and automotive design. Are there opportunities for engagement and concentrations through internships with automotive industry?
I cannot speak directly to that, but what I will say, I don't know of any direct connections with the automotive industry for that kind of training or internship. We have an International Comparative Labor Studies program center here, and that program engages all of the unions in the Southeast, basically, and those are opportunities for you to have networks into that space. But I can't think of any particular automotive program that we have. Now, the mechanical engineering, yes.
Sorry, I would add that some of our physics and dual degree students have been hired by Fiat and Chrysler. And so I imagine because we have relationships with them, that there may be some program, but we would actually have to, get that information out.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. Dr. Hodge, last question, and it goes to Dr. Hollingsworth. Dr. Hollingsworth, can you talk about the offerings of entrepreneurship in business and economics?
You know, the study of entrepreneurship has really changed. There was a time when it was purely about business and business plans. Entrepreneurship now is about ideation. It's about quick to fail. It's about the entrepreneurial mindset. And so we actually don't have a ton of entrepreneurship specific classes. Yet we've been ranked as one of the most entrepreneurial campuses in the country. Why? Because we have an entrepreneur center who has a great director, Dr. Tiffany Bussey. They have at least a meeting every other week with small entrepreneurs who come in and meet with our students and give them opportunities. And so what Morehouse has done is, rather than create classes, we've created more of an ecosystem where we're trying to bring entrepreneurship into every major. And so I don't want to restrict it to just business. Now, I'm a firm believer that one of the ways to be successful is to know where your money is going. So you should know accounting and you should know sales and marketing. But you don't have to be a business major to be an entrepreneur. CTIM certainly has some very entrepreneurial students. The sciences, we have a makerspace over in STEM where people are being very entrepreneurial. So it's more of an ecosystem here than it is just specific classes. And it comes back again to the networking. Come into classes, go to the Entrepreneurship Center, go to their TREP talks that occur every 2 weeks, and you start making those connections.
Can I add, too, though, that one of the exciting activities that, as you say, extend beyond the business division are things like the Innovation Expo and the stunning international travel under the direction of that center that happens with students. They go everywhere on every continent throughout the year, basically innovating with their ideals and their creativity. So it's really exciting, and it's open to all students, really.
Thank you. Thank you for your time today, panel and faculty. Dr. Hodge?
Oh, you have heard a lot today, and we want to thank you for sitting in with us. And we know, and now I think you know, that Morehouse College is the choice for you. We want to help you meet your highest aspirations. And Morehouse is the place for you to do that, unfettered by the weight of any of the kind of sociological, societal constraints that have oftentimes kind of beset African Americans, particularly African American men. You can come here and just be, where excellence is an expectation. And as you are here, excellence becomes a habit. So we're glad that you sat in with us. We're glad that you sought out to apply to Morehouse and that you have been accepted to Morehouse. So you've already made the mark. We want you to take that next step and come and join the Brotherhood of Excellence. Now, you can get a start on your dreams and aspirations this summer online by considering attending one of our online programs, PSP program and the Morehouse Academic Acceleration Program. These are two online programs that I think that information will be sent to you, and when that information comes to you, please consider engaging with those programs. You can get ahead in one of the programs. You can earn as many as 6 credit hours, and in the other one, you can earn as many as 9 credit hours to get yourself off to a good start, demonstrating, like Dr. Dunn said, what kind of student you are, so that when you apply to the secondary type programs like CTEMS, you are prepared and you will get into those programs with no problem. So you will receive information soon. If you haven't already, for those 2 programs, please consider those programs. Now, I think the announcement was made last week by our president, but I do want to reiterate it. One of our great partners, Microsoft, has partnered with us to help kind of take care of the digital divide that many of our students may face. So in partnership with Microsoft, you're going to be given, upon enrollment, a Surface 2-in-1 tablet. This is for our enrolled students. That's the next step. And you have information that comes to you. I don't know if it comes in the snail mail or email, or it's in your portal if you already have your M numbers. So if you enroll, you will be given this 2-in-1 tablet supplied by Microsoft. And we want to thank one of our board members, Fred Humphreys, for helping us to work this partnership for you and your success with Microsoft. So thank you all for sitting in. We thank you and we look forward to seeing you in the fall semester. Thank you.